Sometimes life lets you down and you feel that you are done. You just want a morning run because the fun is all gone. But sometimes life makes you proud when you look far and wide, when you leave the pain behind and see the brighter side. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion. TNC starts your transformation. TNC helps you see the new you.
The new channel. The new channel. The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following show are those of the hosts, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the new channel. Here to help you see the new you. This is Jesse Francis Rebustillo, your host to this wonderful program, HR Hotline. Welcome back to the HR Hotline. I know it's Saturday, and I know a lot of our friends are viewing live. We have Femery Kabantek from the Philippine Society Talent Development. I would like to correct myself with that. And then our dear friend, the 2015 PIMA President, Albert Policarpio. And other friends, I can see it now. Please post where you are and then tell us your experience as an HR or your experience with HR. Because that is our topic for today. Hello, Carmine. You're watching. She's a dear friend of mine. Anyways, let me start again with a story, just like I did when we discussed about PIMAP Cebu's regional conference, and that one of customer service. Why am I in HR? When I was studying, I got high grades in accounting. But my dad told me, I want you to be a manager. I didn't know what kind of manager. So I took up management. At that time, it was not so, popular to take up management. I took it in Aquinas University, now the UST in Legazpi, University of Santo Tomas, Legazpi. I was a protege of Father Ramon Salinas. So I took up management. after my graduation, wherein, of course, I got some honors. I was a magna cum laude then. I would like to take a master's. So that was my reason from my parents that I have to leave Legazpi. There was a job waiting for me in Legazpi, Philippine National Bank. You know, at that time, um, if you finish uh, with honors, they will place you. There is a placement program before, but I was so insistent. So I went here to, to Manila, but I had to look for a job while taking my MBA. I landed a job in the Overseas Employment Development Board. I was a management specialist, a management and audit specialist. So we're professionalizing. We were the ones doing the job description at the time for the workers, employees going abroad. So we collaborate with um, principals and come up with the proposed job description. And that is what we advertise. And in the afternoon, we do interviews. I didn't know it. That was already, I was already doing HR. Just imagine in the morning, I was already doing job analysis, which is why if you get me as a consultant now, I am not bragging. It's just like eating peanuts because that was my first job. For all the doctors, the workers that you sent to Nigeria before, or even the GROs going to Japan, you are the one who crafted what they're supposed to do. Which is why I know the nitty gritty. It has to start with a verb. It has to be a singular, even in nitty gritty. Then in the afternoon, interviews. So the HR bomb has bitten me. After that, what else can I do? Is to continue my career in HR. Then I took my master's degree in Ateneo. Then after that, I practically, because at the time I was in Popayos, took a lot of trainings from origami to cooking to writing. What are these? What were those? To hone my skills. Maybe I was sad that I was not with my parents, which is why I kept myself busy. I even thought I started teaching in Latran, then in Sambeda, then in Lyceum, just to keep my day. Take note of that. So I was working, I was studying, I was teaching. But of course, I did not forget to have a pet and to plant. I missed the garden of my Lola. So I always have plants. Even I was then a, a renter, or even when I stayed in a condo. So I am not a plantito, I'm a plant lolo. So working, studying, teaching. My teaching is not because everybody in the family was teaching at the time, but it's actually honing my skills. Remember, I'm from Bicol. So there is actually that intonation, enunciation, pronunciation problem. So I have to teach. I was actually practicing my facilitation skill in teaching. And then I joined corporate organizations to be an HR person. I joined PMAP. I joined PSTD. Attended all the seminars, joined committees. I remember I joined the committee of Grace Zeta for me to look a little bit deep because it was research committee. Up to now, I am very active in the PMAP committees. So why am I telling you this? This is not to brag. I got it from my lolo, Juanito Napay. There was a time that we were together in my rented house. It's now a house in Quezon City, Mapayapa Village. He stayed with me for around 6 months. He taught me how to iron clothes, how to wash. He was an auditor, mind you, but he was teaching me chores. And while we're doing that, he was telling me, hone your skills. He was even the one who told me not to stay in an organization for the longest time. He told me, just stay there 10, 12 years, and then you go. And from that, you learn from things. Do not also stay there for a short period because you will not learn. I didn't realize that was already career pathing. And the ones that he told me that I should take this and that, that was already career development, my individual development plan. So I'm lucky. I am blessed because I had people who supported me, who took care of me. My dad, my mom, of course, my siblings. Up to now, my sister, she would call me up to check the what do you call this? The tarpaulin for the inaugural. So I have to check, oh, there is no date. What do I mean by that? There is a continuous honing of skills. Now that I am retired, I am in the thick of it. I just had a call from a priest from Bacolod who is asking me to be a consultant. And I gladly accepted. Yesterday, I got a call from a student in ECO asking me to do a webinar, a program, a series of programs to their company and to their association. And I accepted it. I got it from my lolo. Continuous, or else an empty mind, an empty brain, you'll be thinking of bad things. My evenings are so full. I am editing a book. I'm coming out of a frame. Yesterday, because of my experience with sales, I was helping sales. So it's a career. For this, I invited a dear friend. We were together 20 years ago. We had collaboration. We are both in PMAP, but nobody knows that we have a very deep engagement and relation. Because when I was in Inquirer, that was in 20s, early 20s, we were already collaborating on a lot of projects. He was actually the president of an HR association south of Manila. Then just like Sarah Lee, just like PP Orbit, I'm a witness to my dear friends growing up. He is even greater than myself now. It's very cool. It's very, what do you call that? Desiderata. Greater and lesser person than you are. He is my idol. He is a friend. And he usually He always remembers me. I get free, what do you call this? Free passes, tickets to his events. Allow me to read this because I may forget it. Recently, and it has a connection with what we're going to discuss. He's a graduate of Bachelor of Science from the University of Santo Tomas. I think which is why we have the same culture. I am from Aquinas and Santo Tomas, spiritual. Then further, he pursued education through an executive leadership program at IESA Business School in Barcelona, Spain, and in New York, USA. Recently, he took his a talent management certification from Penn State University, USA, and recently a global MBA. So he deserves to have that letters aside from the FPM, Fellow in People Management. He's an MBA from Aden University with highest honor, summa cum laude. Of course, he has years and years of experience as an HR. And then, of course, I told you that we were together in People Management Association of the Philippines. You know, he is actually, I will ask him, he is actually the go person for shrimp. We'll ask him later. Then he used to work a very, very efficient and effective executive for executive search a company before, but now he is the chief. I would like to read it. He is the chief executive officer and chief take IT forward officer of HRTX Inc. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome my friend Engelbert Gilbert Camasura.
Hello, hi Jesse.
Hello, you are so fresh with that. I always see you in your coat and tie. Now you are
Yes,
in your shirt. Where are you now?
sure. And good afternoon everyone. Magandang tanghali po sa lahat ng sumusubaybay of this program. Congratulations first, my dear friend. You've gone
Thank
a
you.
long way as well, and you've always wowed everybody with that, media personality that you have with you always, Jesse. So congratulations. Well, yes, I'm wearing, just a shirt today. I was hoping it's a weekend, and a lot of the I guess a lot of the people watching us tuning into your program are probably in their respective houses and enjoying lunch today. So we hope to get you a good dessert later in our discussion.
Yes, yes. Yeah, you know, Gilbert, I'm just curious. What are those? Is it's not painting? Is it thigh? The one at your back?
Uh,
The
this
yes, yes, yes. That one.
those were I got them from actually India, as you know.
Yes,
I
it's
grew
so
up,
nice.
so they're real wooden carvings, human made, like the shirt. It's like
Very
human.
nice. And before we go to our conversation, let me greet you. Let me greet your wife and then your son. I saw in your Facebook post your son is studying piano.
That's right. That's right. Whenever there's a point for me to support anyone, in fact, not just my son, my family, but for anyone who'd like to grow and learn more, I show them appreciation or, I support whatever, they're going through. Like what you said a while ago, life is like a continuous learning, and there's so much that we could do in this world to become better
Okay.
person. Yes.
So we start. 2 years ago, you were asking me to join you to a movement, Advancing HR. Tell us all about it. What
Okay.
was that?
Yes, sure. So advancing HR would have two definitions, in two perspectives rather. So one is actually more the progressive line of building our HR profession or as our career, right? So we in HR, we always have to look at what is advancing HR all about. The second perspective of defining it is actually trying to create HR in a progressive manner that is more in the aspect of functional responsibility that we have for the organization. First, let's talk about the progression as a career. Right? As you were saying, Jesse, kanina, no, it is always important for us to invest in learning new knowledge, new skills, and then new abilities that will make us become better HR. Number one in operations. So you may be starting your HR post graduation, or you're just in the middle of your career, taking a good experience with any of the global or local company. Learn, try to see better ways to do your things, you do your work. The second part is really how do you harness your skills becoming a business partner. So this is where HR business partnering comes in. And these are all from our HR guru like Dave Ulrich and all theories that have really carved what this is all about. Try to deepen that kind of experience up until we are ready to evolve to become somebody strategic. And a lot of our colleagues, past PIMA presidents, have proven this. I, for one, have experienced it, and rest of our dear friends in PIMA. It
Something
is
went
all
wrong.
about that
Try
we
again
talk
in a few
about
seconds.
how do we develop ourselves and become strategic. We have a lot of HR that are now assuming the role of a business leader or president of different organizations again, be it local or global, small or medium and big companies. The second aspect of career progression in advancing HR is how do we sharpen the saw? And the sharpening the saw is the idea here is how do we seek for a wiser, ideas and solutions. Never stop, yung sa akin, Jesse, it's always, looking at and becoming curious of things that you wanted to figure out and find out, things that will come our way na parang if they're given to you, parang how do you solve it? A lot of people get a little overwhelmed. Pero supposedly dapat we find the ways to make things happen, right? So the goal is to master people strategy until you become an expert. And
Right,
the only
right.
way that the only person that will validate Jesse, ikaw lang yun eh. And then the
Yes,
last one, and then the last one is ensuring that you when you validate your learning, kailangan you take some formal programs like what you just mentioned a while ago. We belong to the People Management Association of the Philippines. So if you wanted to validate all your experiences from the past, go to SOF or the Society of Fellow that will further test your capabilities, your knowledge, your expertise.
right,
If you're
right.
talking about certification, you want local, go to PMAP. Now you were asking me a while ago if you wanted to take global certification, that's where I come in. As you were sharing a while ago, I'm the education partner of the Society for Human Resource Management in the Philippines. Let me know how you'd like to, again, sharpen the saw, how you'd like to be certified in this aspect. And then if you wanted to just specialize or to certify being a specialist, you have your PSTD, you have your Compenben organizations and all that will actually be more specific to a specialization in HR. Basically, yun Jesse, on the aspect
Right,
of
right. Yeah,
progression.
Gilbert, your friend. When you're mentioning that, of course, the first thing that I was thinking is it's me. Remember, when we met, I was an HR director of Inquirer.
That's
Then
right.
later on, along the way, Ma'am Sandy was able to see the potential. She promoted me to sales, then to
Mm-hmm.
marketing, and I'm one of those which is actually they created a position for me, a special position for me. My last position in the corporate world is actually an ABP for industry relations, which
Mm-hmm.
is when you are in the office, it's actually the relationship with the unions. When you're outside the office, it's actually the industry relations. So you can see that there was a progression, as what you have mentioned, and that I think what I did was I joined PMAP and I
That's
joined
right.
a lot of associations. Now, but let us go back for those who are in the in the early part of their career. Is HR an option, a good career option? Of course, there are stresses in HR. I remember when I was actually, uh, I was cursed and when I was able to get a TRO when I was in Fuji Reynolds. So
Mhm.
is the stresses and then the woes of HR. But can you tell us, Gilbert, is it a good career option?
Okay, that's really very good question, Jesse. But here's one answer, and it's one line. Every organization lives because of human resources.
I love it.
So, yun lang, ganun lang kasimple yung sagot natin doon. So, every organization lives because of human resources. In other words, every organization is human-made. Like, I'm not promoting my shirt, but practically, I support the claim, which is that the life of organization is not in technology, not in strategy even, but it is in the hands of the people. It is
I
in
love
the skills and the knowledge of people that makes up any organization. So, talking and going back to your question, having said that one line, kumbaga, the HR profession will always have a demand for work. So if you are taking up psychology, social science, or even general business management course, like even accounting rather, then you can go through the process of sharpening, getting to understand what the HR life is, and then build your career with the right foundation. So I see a lot of opportunities for HR in that aspect. Number two, there is always ample advancement of opportunity. So, look at, and my experience here, Jesse, being an executive search consultant too, over the
yes,
last 20 years, I
yes,
have seen a lot of business leaders who are CFO, CMO, CIO, CEO, COO, owners who actually would like to take special courses in HR. Why? Because they know that if they don't have a very good people strategy, it's going to be a lot of
agree,
headache.
agree.
Regardless of whether you're CFO, CMO, CIO, COO, CEO, you always have people with you. And it's not anymore in the hands of just one person to manage the entire HR. HR is already in the hands of anyone leading any business organization. Kaya nga sabi mo, you're a good finance person. That's a good
Yes,
match. Numbers and people, or even technology and people, which HRTX is all about. You just marry both. But always the baseline is that HR will always be a good profession. It's not just an option, but it is the only way for an organization to thrive,
I
especially
love it.
in this
I
kind of
love
thing.
it. You
I'm not
you
biased.
should
I'm
be
not biased.
you should be a keynote speaker for PIMA
I'm not
with that
biased
just
on that,
topic.
but I challenge any of the profession. They will always lean and bend on what is the HR strategy behind the business strategy.
Right, right. We are the lead. People is actually the lead. Now you mentioned of paths. PP Pilar is now. I would like to congratulate you. She's
That's
now the
right.
president of
Congratulations,
Makati
according
Med.
to that.
Yes, and of course you are now a CEO. You own uh, a company, and then I mentioned myself from HR. I went to sales, to marketing, and then to PR, to industry relations. So, what do you think? What are your insights? What are your thoughts on the career path of an HR?
Okay. Two ways again, no? Kasi that's a very tricky question. A lot of people will probably say, "Oh, you're taking up psychology or social science, therefore you're HR." That's stereotyping. It's gone. So anybody who has a great passion for people, who like to see himself or herself, honing, deepening that experience of dealing with people, have to have the mastery of people management, then you're welcome to get into the HR, regardless again of the academic background. Now, the moment you get in, the option is to the first thing you need to understand is the foundation good enough for you to solidify and strengthen the entire functional discipline to be known to you. Then from then on, as an HR generalist, the trap is either you become a specialist, or you pursue your being a generalist. Chances are we will have our expertise in certain function, Jesse. So
Yes,
in my case, I'm an HR generalist, and turn to become a business leader in my respect, in my company, meron tayo kasing expertise. Like some people would be strong in labor relations, but
Yes,
HR generalist. I am an HR generalist, but strong in, say, executive, in recruitment, and
yes.
then have your training. Ganun din with you. You that's why sabi ko nga kanina, you just need to know where you'd like to master it and then try to validate it further. Yun naman yung kagandahan when you pursue further studies, like, taking up masters in human resources or even taking up global MBA. You will be able to determine kung saan yung inyong core strength, and only by then you will be able to determine kung paano. But ultimately, when you were talking about the path, when we enter HR, ako kasi when I entered HR, I never, dreamed just to become an HR head. I
Right.
only knew that HR was a function in an organization. Ganun sinabi ko, it is a function in an organization. Pero I never became contented to become just a CHRO. Sabi ko, one day, we will all become CEO. And CEO is all about a chief empowering officer of an organization. It is
Very good.
HR.
I'm learning from you, Gilbert, because right now I'm doing a webinar for ECOP on
Hmm.
succession planning, and I have around five participants who are actually CEOs and senior leaders in their organization. Then my assignment to them is to come up for their career path. One called me up. Sir, I'm already holding the highest position in the organization. The answer is what you just told us.
Oo, kasi Jesse, when you call yourself a CEO, usually it is the Chief Executive Officer. Now, to be a CEO is such a lonely position up there. People would either not like you, people would always have that apprehension to reach out to you. But if you have the mindset of becoming a Chief Empowering Officer, you actually recognize that the power is a shared leadership among the many business leaders of the organization.
So what
While
you're
you take
telling us now, Gilbert, is that even if you're in the highest position, you can create your own position. You yeah, from a CEO to empowerment. I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
And
ako kasi I am a strong believer of shared leadership. And
wow.
shared leadership is all about like empowering the ground so that it doesn't create any bottleneck at the end of the day where you feel like, while you call for the shot of the entire business organization, ang maganda dyan is that you recognize that every people has their own core strength, and multiply all of this with that number of people that you have, you will always become, parang a future proof and crisis ready organization. Ang mahirap kasi when somebody calls the shot and isa lang, and then forgets all about consulting, empowering, collaborating with people, you're dead, you're gone. I mean, the organization these days have totally evolved to become flat. But you know while the hierarchical status is there, that you have your CEO, your manager, your supervisor, your staff, your specialist, so on, okay lang yon, you have that in the organization. But ang tawag na lang natin doon is that I call it respect, that everybody has a personal role. Pero in
Right.
terms of organization, it is gone. It's not hierarchical anymore, Jesse, eh.
Yes,
Kaya
I know. Yeah.
yeah.
So that yung career path is yeah, for him to really veer into something which is what you empowering. Empower
Actually, it's really more of, as you expand your knowledge and skills, find out where, the responsibility becomes greater. And as your responsibility becomes greater in an organization, it naturally follows the flow of being given major role, major responsibilities
right,
in the organization,
right.
including the president. So, kasi akala nila, it's about tenure or it's about just the expertise. It is the capacity and capability of the individual for him or her to be able to assume key leadership in any organization, be it local, global, your personal, your own organization, or your another corporation.
We are going to have our first break, but I would like to mention this before the break. You know what I was telling? When Ma'am Sandy asked me to transfer to be promoted to sales, I cried a bucket, Gilbert. You know that. Yeah, you went
Ah,
together.
yeah, yeah, I know. Because you were
That's
like
but
giving
but
hard.
you know yung sinasabi mo, I was doing a lot of things wherein people were already recognizing that I can
Oo.
do other things beyond being
Right,
the
that's right.
HR.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and that is actually I was leading my own career, not knowing it. Not knowing it. Gilbert, it's so nice to talk with you, to converse with you. Let's have our first break and then we'll go back. Can we have the Welcome back to HR Hotline. I'm still gonna read, please flash the TNC shows. This is just to invite everybody that you have to be tuned in, you have to be with us, your option, your new normal, your alternative from watching the big picture from Monday to Thursdays to be inspired with the family business on Saturdays. The fourth project, which is actually aired coming from Dubai, and we have Usapang Beauty and the COVID stories, very original in the TNC. We have guests that will tell us to how they were able to thrive and live and be successful in combating the virus. We have this inspirational uh, program, the Youth Turn, hosted by my dear friend Carmine. And then we have the Home Buyer by Dante Salamat, a funny, engaging program, the Puppet Stories, and the TNC Marketplace, which is actually a midnight event in selling. Then we have YOLO, wherein you have to learn law with fun. Then we have Money More and the Talk, a two-in-one presentation of great speakers. Then we have Aftership, a chillaxing show after work, and then The Win Within, very inspiring. Then inviting all your children and everybody for you to be engaged with Danny Stories, and then the Foreign Affairs, and then, of course, Healthline. And then don't forget to watch and be with us every lunchtime, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And Saturdays. Okay, let's go back to Gilbert. Yes, Gilbert, I have two questions for you, and you can answer it one after the other. One is, how does one advance his career in HR, and then later on tell us tips on how one can climb the HR career ladder. So I think that is the same. How are you going to be able to advance your HR, and then some tips. Please,
Mhm.
please share with us,
Okay.
Gilbert.
Yep. Yeah. So, one of the things that I remember when I started my HR career, not too long ago, but yes, just just the same time with Jesse and rest of the, people watching. So, parang ako when I look at HR as a profession, parang I have high respect to it. Being an important responsibility that we have to take care of. So sa akin, it's again always get to learn new knowledge from great institutions. Try to be coached and mentored by HR guru, teachers and professors, professionals, leaders in HR that will actually try to harness and hone your skills further to become better. And then one of the things I also would like to share with you is again, paano ba how are you being how is the experience being validated? And so your SOF of the People Management Association of the Philippines came up with a certification that actually tried to again validate whether the experience is strong enough for you to become strategic. I also have been looking at and promoting the global certification which talks about HR. Kasi importante rin po right now, and this is something I also try to drag and promote. Filipinos are not just local talents. We all have the
Yeah.
vision to become global professional. We're all global professional citizen. In other words, every Filipino HR could step up and become even assume responsibility for regional roles and even global opportunities. And I know a number of Filipinos, Jesse, that have assumed regional role and even global, no? And I wouldn't, I could always greet them here. Tapos lastly is also try to understand if the track is for you to succeed, you need to understand the line. You need to understand the business. You need to ensure that you have knowledge as well on other facets like your finance, to understand what's the P&L going to look like, how is the bottom line going to be impacted by any HR decisions that you may come up. Thus, you could actually take and pursue MBAs, which are all offered, local and global. I was just so fortunate that I was able to finish my global MBA with Adam University. Now, the track again is not just about getting into HR and be contained and confined within the function. The traction is going to be like the path is going to be how do you become a business leader eventually? How do you use HR to be a core competence and then try to build it up and grow. So Jesse, do not worry when you were tapped to become in sales because they've recognized that the people leadership, the people management in you were strong skills that you have were strong enough for you to be able to increase, the revenue. And that's what you did in Philippine Daily Inquirer the last time I knew of. Na parang you were highly recognized for all the contributions that you have in leading the sales team. So it's not just about just getting into the the four corners of human resource management, but eventually it will have to evolve.
Okay. So that means that you really have to, you must have what you call a vision first, on you will have to be, and try
And
to go into that track and go into that direction.
mhm. Hindi
See,
hindi siya
that's right.
parang hindi siya that you entered HR just because you have no choice. That's why I will never call it as an option. You need to plan whether you'd really like to go to HR and build because there is a high respect. There is high regard rather of the role, the responsibility because HR itself is a discipline.
And besides, you don't really have to be confined on the function that you are doing. That's why I
I
say you started with Comben and you'll retire as a Comben officer.
In fact, marami akong, I get to be consulted by Some again, leaders like yung mga chief marketing, finance, minsan ang pinaka-struggle nila, Jesse, is actually, how do you lead people? Ang sakit sa ulo daw to lead people. Yun naman ang advantage of us in HR because you have that already. Alam mo paano siya i-handle. Pero kailangan din natin malaman how to do it, how to strategize in terms of marketing, how to look at the bottom line by taking finance, how to manage the operations. So you need to make sure. So when you all roll this together with your core competence, then you're a self-made. You could always become you're ready to assume greater responsibility. That's why I also said that in HR, advancing HR, the new CEO is the HR.
Okay, so let's go to the tips. Let's go first. You mentioned marketing. How should one market oneself
Mm-hmm.
so that
Um,
you'll be your there is a presence, there is credibility in what you're doing. Can you tell us how should one who is now in HR market herself or himself?
Okay, so that's what we call your professional or personal branding, Jesse. So,
Yes,
first, before you even talk about how do I market myself, you need to go through, this discovery or rediscovery of the passion and purpose that you have as a person.
right.
No, something that inspires you, something that motivates you, something that you love doing. And from there, you craft your own brand. You create your own brand and start working on it so that it aligns to how you envision yourself. Kasi the way you will talk outside, the way you will market yourself is more going to be how you're doing it as a passion and you're doing it with purpose, no? Parang ano to parang you live with it rather, di ba? Parang if I love doing HR, obvious naman makikita nila yan sa'yo that in and out, whether on and off camera, you will always regard people to be the great resource or the great builder of any business organization. So
How
yeah,
about tips on competencies? What competencies should be developed for you to have a strong parang you deserve to be promoted? Ano kaya
mhm.
mga tips na dapat what can you share with us, Gilbert?
Yeah, ako first again solidify or try to deepen no the solidify the foundation. HR knowledge is always going to be the baseline.
Right,
Uh,
right.
and, and the HR functions are there. Your talent acquisition, your total rewards, your training and development, your change management, and labor relations or employee engagement. So dapat yan, it's 100% or 101% solid. In other words, you know the ins and outs of the
That
entire
means that,
HR.
sorry for interjecting. That means that they should take these certification programs.
They should take certification program, or if they have time, there are a lot of nice books locally published and globally published. Just try to do self learning, especially during the COVID time, no, during this pandemic crisis. I found a way to actually further deepen my knowledge while there was a pandemic. I was actually completing my MBA, and it was very perfect time because we all shifted to ensuring that all our readings are just online and so on. Now, once you get into na solidify mo na, Jesse, yung foundation, again,
Yes.
there are specific functions and core competence. You need to further ensure that you gain knowledge on, or you earn the competency of like becoming strong in business acumen, strong in business
Right.
partnering. Yung
Right.
mga ganyan. You talk about your business communication, you're being a thought leader. So the moment you're able to master this, diba? Because there's expertise in it. Eh. It's not going to be overnight. It's going to be like as you get through it, you need to actually try to always develop certain competency that are necessary because these are your advanced skills on top of your HR foundation. So when you're able to develop your people skills, your business acumen, you're talking about your communication skills and so on, it pushes you up to actually become a thought leader by itself, by the process that you're going through. It actually gives and elevates your experience. You will see a different angle of how you take HR as a profession, HR as a leader, and HR even being, a part of an organization. Mag-iiba kasi yung perspective na yon. When you're talking about business acumen, dyan na pumapasok yung certain competency on, okay, how do you do now your business financial planning? Where you create model of, um, parang, okay, I would inject certain program which will definitely have a cost. But what is it? How is it going to impact the organization if I put this there? How is the productivity going to improve? If
Yes,
its
the
productivity
ROI.
going to improve, di ba, the ROI, para mangyari yung Jesse, para sabi niya, okay, so the more I put here, the higher it goes to push the productivity. Then when I go to and meet with my stakeholder and, meet them in the boardroom, it is just, I'm not going to say it's easy, but you all have, what it takes to actually say, you have a claim, you already have some
So
proof of,
the change of mindset from being a cost center
that's
to
right,
an investment or development center.
that's right. Mm-mm. Yun.
Now tell me, before we have the second break, Gilbert, you were for the longest time with a search company. Now tell us, what are the competencies that you look for? Say, first, a HR supervisor, second, an HR manager, and then an HR executive, so that they can see
Mhm.
the progression on what they have to prepare wherever they would like to go up the ladder.
Mhm. Yung sa ano, on the specific competencies that, most of the clients will look for, they could be very culture centric, no? When you say culture centric, that all depends on like what they're looking for. Pero again, the baseline is how effective are you as a people slash organization driver, whether you're able to instill program, because there is a point where people will be looked at to say you're good in creating concepts, but how strong are you in actually implementing or even doing the execution, because
Na?
execution becomes a critical point. So
Yeah.
that's number one. Number two is, what how strong are you in, creating and doing a lot of yung mga initiatives na ginagawa mo. How are you as well in innovation? Because the key right now in HR is that, medyo, HR is under pressure right now with all of this pandemic, Jesse. So ang hinahanap ng mga organizations ngayon is, are you able to introduce change? And if you're able to introduce change or do innovation, are you able to manage it very well, the end to end? Hindi yung parang you're able to do concept, but at the end of the day, you're not able to make it happen or materialize it. So parang, it goes hand in hand, no? So yung, you need to have your, business leadership by having strong initiative at the same time that you're able to promote, yung innovation that comes from, and not just about technology. It's all about trying to do streamlining, creating an agile culture, trying to promote collaboration, especially right now, there's quadra generation of the workforce. And lastly, whether you're able to, shift the entire organization of HR to a digital platform, which is the new thing, the new normal. This is what I have been, again, trying to promote 3 years since 3 years ago, that the future of HR is going to be very, very digital.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful updates coming from uh, Gilbert Camasura. We'll come back after this second break. Then we'll have a couple of questions and then we do our parting messages. Can we have the second break, please? so happy that my former students in PMAP certification program are watching. This show is actually dedicated for you. Sally, thank you for watching. Sally Concepcion, Maribel, Lay, who's now a plantita, and Juan. They are actually HR, starting their careers, studying, but this is actually for you. Listen from the wisdom of Gilbert. But let's go first to some announcements that we have here. The first one, I am endorsing all of you. I am inviting all of you to attend the PMAP. Can we have the slides, please? The PMAP conference that will be on October 21, 22, and 23. Can we go back to it? Can we go back to it so fast? And the other one is the PSTD. Can we go back to that, Saito? Or the first one? The first one. Can we go back to the first slide? Can we go back to the first slide, please? Yes. And the other one is that Philippine Society for Training and Development uh, National Convention on November 15, 16, and 17. So two big events. In October, that one for PMAP, and in November for PSTD. The reason why I'm endorsing it now, it's for you to register and for you to budget so that you can join. It is virtual, so it is even cheap for your part. Then we go to the next one. Next slide, please. Can we have the next slide? Yes, also I am endorsing Cebu's regional conference. And then I have a webinar. Yes, go back. Yeah, it's too fast. You know, we are live. Yeah, you have to attend also. Even if it is in Cebu, I am inviting you to join us because it's virtual. And they have nice speakers. And I'm one of the speakers in their first ever blind audition for talents. Then we have the next one. I also run webinars. I have one in October. Can we have the next slide, please? Yes, conducting virtual competency-based interviews. We need that because we are now actually in a new normal and we are conducting recruitment online. So we need to know what is the competency-based interviews that we can do online. Then I'll also do right now a webinar on succession planning. And the next is, can we go to the next slide, please? Mark, Mark. Yes, implementing effective succession planning and management program. This is one of those that sometimes it's being missed, but you know, part of the core talent management is acquisition, learning and development, performance management, succession planning is important because actually it connects a lot. Nakatahi dyan po lahat. And of course, that is what we are discussing now. You should also take care of your career path, and that is part of succession planning. Then we also have other announcements. What are the other announcements that we have? Mark, can we go to the next one? Yes, we have still vacancies for Wills Design and Associates. You email your resume to recruitment at wdaincorporated.com.ph. We also have some vacancies in Puzzlebox. Puzzlebox, you can send your resume to careers at puzzlebox.inc.com. And also the last one, we have one Algon. They are looking for psychiatric nurses, caregiver, cook, driver, security guard, and you can apply at algonplace@gmail.com. One of these days, we'll have a virtual job fair. That's where Gilbert and I met before. We even have a face-to-face job fair before in Alabang. I can still remember that. Can we have Gilbert back before we have our parting messages? Friend, naalala ko yung ating job fair. Bigla
I
akong
remember
naalala yung
very
job
well.
fair.
I remember very well how aggressive Philippine Daily Inquirer then and you tap on top of the network of the, we call it the People South Network. That's the South-based HR group, and then we organize a job fair, and that became very very successful in Alabang area.
I know. Not only once, siguro we had around five, six job fairs that we organized before.
Until I remember until we were recognized by the TESDA to actually
Yes,
help them promote their program for upskilling, di ba? To the certifications. So,
Gilbert, we've come a long way. So, a
yes.
question before your parting message: how to be Gilbert Camasura?
Ako, Jesse, what's up? No, well,
Tell us how to be you. Tell us
yeah,
how to be you.
yeah. So, ako naman kasi, I think everybody has your own, path of success. And I would say parang we shouldn't be again, too again too worried of the future, no, to be complacent of the future. We need to take seriously. Sa akin, what made me feel like where I am right now is actually I took seriously about how I created my career blueprint. So the blueprint is all about again how I determine the future ahead of me, diba? The future that's going to be like for a Gilbert. And I already envisioned that someday, and it came already, that I will be able to further, support organizations, build organizations, help organizations through HR. That was very clear in my vision. So how did I work on it? First, again, I try to discover and rediscover ano ba yung, what do I have, what skills do I have, what's the knowledge, ano ba yung ganun, and what do I need to further do to make it again a good ground. So part of it is part of the bucket list yung tinapos ko pong having this global MBA, Jeffrey, that helped me further strengthen kasi I was already leading a business. I was already responsible for the PNL for quite a long time. I think I led an organization where I had the responsibility of the PNL, the bottom line, to make sure that we have we're very green with regards to say how we're doing with revenue generation. Natapos yon. So like, and then secondly is we need to deepen. Ako kasi I have to deepen the commitment to make things happen. If I have planned for myself, kailangan yung commitment goes along with it. We cannot just say I'll cast on stone my plans and I won't do anything anymore. So either you be guided by people like Jesse or the past presidents of the People Management Association of the Philippines or anybody. And again, if you're asking me, there were people who reach out to me, and I'm giving it for now, like I'm offering it for a good free service. It's a payback for people who'd like to develop themselves to become ready business leader. As an executive search consultant, I get to also coach and guide some of the business leaders, CEO at that, and then create that structure for you to operate or solutions that will further validate your purpose. So HRTX is all about how I saw myself to be, to with purpose. In other words, I've seen that eventually HR will be disrupted by technology. 3 years ago, Jesse, I was already talking about this. And so
Yeah.
some of the TV programs actually featured, say, artificial intelligence to replace interview. So I had artificial intelligence doing recruitment. Now I'm more talking about virtual simulation, which you attended. Yun eh. It's not gonna replace the entire HR. Technology, guys, will always be an enabling tool, right? It is not going to replace us. The only way that we will be replaced and become irrelevant is if we stop learning. Kaya my ultimate message to everybody is never stop learning because life is a lifelong journey nga sabi nila, and I support that. Lastly, yung question mo kanina, Jesse, is how do I work on it? Try to communicate, collaborate, and create a community or a company for you so that masustain mo yung purpose mo and ma-deepen mo yung inyong passion. So there, Jesse.
Ang galing. Ang galing. You know, Gilbert, you have to come back. because we haven't even discussed HRTX, and our topic will be what will be the how to be digital and how to
Oh,
be collaborative with
in fact, I
technology.
want to cover that today because yung isang aspect kasi of advancing HR, other than progression upward as a professional, yung isa kasi is advancing HR as a function. Remember I told you about that? Kaya lang,
Yes.
I think the program
And
is only
when we
for
have
you.
you next Saturday so that they will look at for it on Saturday? Next
So,
Saturday.
yes, definitely. So, ang
Promise.
importante
Promise me.
ngayon is
Because
how
I,
do
I
we
have
run it?
I have Bong Ostero on Tuesday, Heidi
Mhm.
Enriquez on Thursday. Can we have you back on Saturday and let's discuss this collaboration between HR and technology?
Yep. That's why
Please,
I took the role of a chief take it forward. It's actually now a blend of people strategy plus technology. So people plus technology equals strategy. Yun po si HRTS.
can you repeat it, please?
People
People,
plus technology equals strategy.
well, so that will be our topic. Please, sumagot ka na ngayon ng yes. Next,
Yes. Yes.
kasi
Okay.
nagkulang yung oras eh. Sayang,
Okay.
sayang. Tapos ko naman, summa cum laude ka ba doon sa MBA? Share that to us, what you learned.
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Alam mo, yung una nag-place, yung pangalawa nag-dictate. That's my relationship with my dear
Yes,
friend.
I know, I know, I know. But you are
Gilbert,
amazing, Jesse. Continue to inspire your viewers and the entire HR community. Your program is so good, and I've been watching it. So kudos to you and the rest of the team behind the new channel. And I hope to collaborate with you and the rest of your TNC group.
please, please, please. So next Saturday. So thank you very much. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Wonderful light conversation, full of wisdom, full of learnings from my dear friend uh, Gilbert Camasura. So, how do we fare now as HR? Where are you in your career? Lots of tips that were given to us. And then what I got lots first is for you to really look into yourself, try to hone your skills, and make sure that you have direction, a vision, and then collaborate with people, join associations, and study, learn. And then it is not putting you in that particular shell wherein you just function as HR, but you go beyond. Gilbert was telling us of trying to know the PNL, trying to know the strategies. I've been mentioning that we are the one in charge of the business continuity. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very inspiring lunch for all of us who are in the HR profession. Let us be like Gilbert. This is Jesse Francis Rebustillo. Just marvelous